Good afternoon, everybody. DJ Styles here at Custom Corpses. Okay, we're going to get this party started. We are putting plaster shell. And because I don't have any plaster bandages, I'm going to do the same principle with wet burlap. And I'm going to stick it into, now I get dirty with this, so. And we're just going to squeeze it out like you normally do with plaster bandages. And we're going to fold it so we have a nice seam. And we're creating a hard shell. Now I'm not putting too much We're doing it with the Ultra Cal because, as you can see, I have a dividing line. You see that yellow band that went around this thing, right? That gives me a nice dividing line. So let me see if I can get it to stick. That's the question. Yeah, that's working. That's working. Now I've made the plaster fairly runny. I don't want this plaster shell very thick. I don't want it to weigh 1,000 pounds. Now, we want to cover what we did, not where I didn't go yet. Now this will get another outer coat once I have this side established. And so what I'm doing is I'm going right up to this edge. And this is going to be part one to making this hard shell. Just got to keep moving. So I don't want to go over that edge, and I'll explain on part two, and you will actually see why on part two. Okay. Better piece. Need a better piece. These walls real quick because keep mixing that plaster. Don't let it get hard yet, because you need to put, you still got to put a lot of I don't know why I did that. I folded it and didn't need to. Okay, come apart. I'm just trying to make a nice neat edge there, and I'll explain why. I'll use that as my clean my hands too while I'm at it. Now I'm going to use some of this plaster to soak in to our hard shell, because we don't want that. We want it to be a hard shell, not a soft shell. Now the plaster is very runny and wet, and that's what we want, because we want it to seep into the mold. As this thickens, the plaster meaning, it'll give us exactly what we want. Oh, by the way, good morning, everybody. Sorry, I get busy right away, man. I don't like to mess around. I want to get right to it. I get right to it. Once that stiffens up, I'll show you what we do next. I want to put a little bit of a that's all water. We don't want that. We want plaster. Once there's a little bit of a shell on the urethane, then I'll be able to matter of fact, let me get my scraper. Too much water in that mess. All right, so what do I want to do with it? That's the question. Look at all that water. You know what? We'll put it right back in this bucket, because it's going to stiffen up and harden up anyway. It all came from this bucket, so it's not going to hurt it to go back to it. Okay. There, I got rid of a lot of the water. All right, now this is going to start getting a little stiffer, and it is, which is perfect. made too much mortar here. I'm going to have to make a lot less. See, I didn't put any kind of bandages on the bottom yet, because being vertical like this, it's not going to stick. And I really don't want the shell real thick. The reason why is because we don't want all that weight. It's not, you're going to be slush casting with this. And this is just a hard shell to keep the foam or whatever you're putting in it from expanding and coming apart. I don't know what the hell that is. Plus, we're going to do something a little different with this too. And I think you'll find this amusing or pretty cool, because this has to be made in such a way I'm making the bottom a little thicker. And you'll see why. Damn it. Wow, this is hardening up really quick. Hold on. Okay, I think that's about all I can do with this. All right, let me go get rid of this, because I don't want it to harden in this bucket and then have to use a new bucket. This stuff is kicking really quick. I don't know why. It has been kicking really fast. All right, on that last batch, sorry I took that long. I had to clean that out because if I didn't clean it out, that would have been a mess. So I want to finish this up on this side. And yes, this is firming up nicely. It's firming up nicely, but I want to put some more bandages in here. But I'm making just a very little amount of plaster here. Very little amount. And this is only part A of a two-part. Good enough. I'm making this a very wet mix. See my little paddle bit? I'm mixing my stuff with my screw gun. And I have just a little bit in there now. I don't have a ton of. Now, let's get back to bandaging the bottom part, because now it has something to grab to. Oh, what did I forgot. You have to wet it a little bit with mortar. Put a slush on it. Just a little bit. I don't think I have enough plaster in this. I don't think I have enough plaster in this. Let me do that. Let me add a little bit more plaster. Don't think I have enough plaster. This little bit should do the trick. Can't have it so runny that I got a little bit of time. Not a ton of time, but I got some time to get this job done right. We're not making extremely thick shell here. We're not. That's not our goal here. It's not our goal. Okay. That's not our goal. Our goal is to get the burlap just onto the wall. This just gives you a nice firm shell. A nice firm shell. That's what if I were a turtle, I would definitely want a firm shell. And that's all we need there. We don't need any more than that. I just want to put some burlap on this bottom. And now we wait for this to thicken a little more. And we can start coating that. I'm just about out of. This will start getting stiff. Boy, this stuff, you know what it is? It's not so much, you get quite a bit of, you get a lot, well, I don't know how much time went elapsed, maybe 5-10 minutes, 20, 15 at the most. And when this starts to kick, man, forget it. It hardens up so fast. I just want to fill all those little holes in that fabric with plaster. And as this thickens, I'm just going to add a little more. To the mix. All right, so what we need now is my scraper again. We don't want the dry stuff. We just want the wet stuff. I'm not trying to make a real thick base. Don't need it. Around here, I'm not trying to make a real thick base around here because it's not needed. This is only to capsulate the skull, and when I get this side done, you'll have a better understanding of how I'm going to put this together. It's going to be simple. It's a simple thing. It's not hard. Let's see how thick she's getting. Nope, not there yet. Not there yet. The next batch is going to be a lot less powder because I wasted a lot of concrete there, which I'm trying to get rid of the stuff anyway because I'm going towards plastic molds, getting away from the Ultra Cal 30. I really want to get away from it because it's just too heavy. I have problems with Ultra Cal like you would not believe. It just seems like I'm just not good at it. You know, it's just some things you just kind of throw the towel in and say, okay, you win, I give up. I've had so many issues over the last 3.5, 4 years now with Ultra Cal 30, and it's not because of the product. It's because I'm not good at it. That's exactly what it is. And as much as I try, and I think my issue hasn't been, it kicks so fast, so quickly. If you make just a little too much, you waste it. If you make the perfect amount, that's rare. And it also varies. Like some days it'll kick real slow, and some days it'll kick like, oh my God. Like some days it'll be 20 minutes of working time and it starts stiffening up and it lasts you another 5 to 10 minutes before it gets real stiff. And then some days it's only 5 minutes before it starts stiffening up and it starts kicking and lasts literally less than a minute before it gets so hard in the bucket that you can't get it out. I was like, man, what, there's so many, it's so many variables, and it has a lot to do with the atmosphere. Whatever it is outside, like if it's humid, it changes everything. Humidity messes everything up. Like it just, there's just so many variables. Yes, it's thickening now. Okay, that's what we want. Just a little bit thicker. I'll use a little bit right now, but I don't want it to run. That's what I'm trying to avoid, running. And I want it nice and smooth. I want our shell smooth. Yeah, this is giving me a nice shell now. Good consistency. Peanut butter, not peanut butter, no, not even warm to that. It's just, you know, very a runny mayonnaise. No, not even that. I'm trying to think of something that's this consistency. The consistency, it's creamy. Best way I can describe it. It's creamy. And that's what we want. Trying to make this top area really smooth. You'll see why on the second half of this. I want this area real smooth, liquidy almost. Now, Ultra Cal is a very dense stone, so it's going to be heavier than a Hydrocal, which Hydrocal is like a that's the medical bandage stuff. That's very white. It's a lighter stone. It's not as dense, but it's still hard stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's still a very hard shell, but not as hard as this. This hard shell lasts for years. Okay, this is done. This side is done. This gets wasted again. Okay, so when this cures up, I will be back Now I don't mind getting rid of all this other stuff here. Put it right in this bucket, go out there and wash it out. I'm going to stop the camera in a second. Then I got to let that firm up to the point where I got to let it dry a little bit. That's got to dry quite a bit. Okay, let me kill the camera. This is part one to making a two-part hard shell of the silicone mold for the skull that I did. And you're learning the process of how to make molds here at Custom Corpses with DJ Styles on YouTube. And who doesn't love YouTube? Come on, man, really? YouTube, unbelievable. You can learn anything on YouTube. You can learn anything. But with that being said, I'm going to jump off of here and I'll be back for part two of how to make a, ouch, that hurt, pinch my hand, how to make a hard shell mold. See you in a bit. I got to let this harden up.